Hello, camera. My lighting is terrible today because it's dark outside. But I'm going to do stuff anyway because if I don't, then I will feel like shit at work. And I don't want to feel like shit at work. So I'm gonna do this. There are, I think, 3 main principles by which we should abide. You have like the 10 Commandments and all these other, laws that have been set down over the course of human history. But I think everything really comes down to one law that can be, we'll divide it up into 3 parts. Because it all really comes down to one law, but for the ease of understanding, I'm going to split it into 3 parts. The first and the more important one, which is where the other 2 split off from, is you should not impose your will upon somebody else. Now, this is not to say that you can't give advice or suggestions or try and teach somebody something, but when it comes down to whether they actually want to or not, that's your obligation doesn't go any farther than that. People have to realize things for themselves in order to truly change. You can't change somebody by making them do something. They have to come to that understanding themselves, which is why it's important not to impose your will or force your will on anybody else. Because if they don't see the world the way that you do, and you make them do what you want them to anyway, then you've really not accomplished anything, and in fact, you've probably done more harm than good. The second one is you should not mislead people intentionally. And this is also a force of will, because when you mislead somebody intentionally, you're in a way imposing your will, which is the deception, onto them. It gives them a clouded view of reality and makes it harder for them to make choices that will benefit them, and which would or should in turn eventually benefit you. You don't really create long-term prosperity and wealth for yourself by lying to other people, because for several reasons, one of which is that they're eventually going to realize that you're a fucking liar and they're not going to listen to what you have to say. And another big important thing in that is that when you lie to somebody, you give them the wrong idea of how the world works. And that's a big thing. That's an imposition of will. The last thing, and this is also an imposition of will, you shouldn't steal from people. Stealing from people is the illegitimate reallocation of resources. This is bad because it creates imbalances. It means that certain people work for something that they're not going to get. If people are always working and working for things that they're not actually reaping the benefits from, why are they working? People want to work to better their lives, and if they're working and their wealth is being stolen and reallocated, well, then they're not going to really see the value in working so much. One of the big reasons why a lot of countries, tribes, whatever, in history didn't get wealthy is because there was a lot of extrication of natural resources and wealth from those certain tribes. Like say you have a tribe in wherever in the world, and it's full of farmers, and they are working hard and creating prosperity and wealth with food. So you have that tribe doing that, and then suppose a bigger tribe or a kingdom or whatever comes along and says, hey, food, we could use that too. So then they steal all the wealth. Well, then what do those people work for? Eventually, they're going to get tired of producing wealth for other people to take. They're not going to see the value in it. And so production will slow and eventually stagnate, and then because you're still consuming stuff, because you need to consume in order to live, you need to eat, so you're actually eventually you risk going backwards. But these are the three guidelines by which we should learn to abide, I think. Yeah, I mean, forcing your will on somebody else, not exactly the best way to try and get things done. Would like to have a discussion though, so if anybody has an issue, or if anybody has something to add, by all means, please do it, because I like discussions. So have a Fanty and Mingo. Have a Fanty day.